left to rot by the galaxy, a forgotten starship found a human mechanic. Legends said it was haunted by the wrecks of a forgotten war, but few really cared, except one human. Jalen Rhine was a mechanic, not the kind who polished engines for rich nobles or worked in high-tech fleets. No, he was the kind who thrived in the forgotten corners of the galaxy, where derelict ships lay drifting for decades, waiting for someone bold or foolish enough to explore them. Jalen's small ship hummed quietly as he navigated the debris field. Sensors flickered erratically, detecting fragments of metal and energy signatures long considered extinct. And then, almost hidden behind a cloud of asteroids, came something that made him stop cold. A massive starship, larger than any he had ever seen, floated like a ghost in space. Its hull was scarred with battle marks, rusted seams, and burn holes. The name etched faintly on its side read Erivos, though time had almost erased it. Jalen's heart raced. Ships this old, this powerful, were thought lost forever. The Erivos was a legend, a warship from centuries past, abandoned after a conflict so vast the galaxy had all but forgotten it. Stories told of its speed, its defenses, and its mysterious disappearance. And now it was here, waiting. "Looks like you've been waiting for someone," Jalen murmured to himself, tightening his gloves. His ship edged closer. Sensors showed weak energy readings, residual power, maybe just enough to keep some systems alive. But there was more, something faint and irregular, almost like a heartbeat. Docking was tricky. The ship's exterior was damaged and some ports were blocked by twisted metal. Jalen's hands moved confidently, guided by years of experience. He deployed magnetic clamps and careful grappling hooks. After tense minutes, his small ship latched onto the Erivos. Stepping through the airlock was like entering another world. Darkness swallowed him at first. Dust motes floated in the air, catching the faint light of his flashlight. Broken consoles lined the walls, their screens shattered or frozen with cryptic symbols. The corridors were narrow, claustrophobic, and smelled of burnt circuits and stagnant air. Jalen ran a diagnostic on his portable scanner. There were life signs, or rather something like life signs. Energy pulses moved through the ship's hull, not consistent but not random either. The Erivos was alive in its own way. He moved cautiously, toolkit in hand. Each step echoed, sounding louder than it should in the empty corridors. The ship seemed to respond. Lights flickered faintly, and somewhere deep inside, a soft hum began, almost like a voice trying to speak. "Hello," Jalen called softly, half expecting nothing. A crackling, distorted voice answered. "Who disturbs?" Jalen froze. Me, my name's Jalen Rhine, I'm a mechanic, I don't mean any harm." The voice paused, then a mechanical sigh echoed through the corridors. Mechanic, human, curious, this unexpected. Jalen's heart skipped. He had read about ships with AI cores, but he had never encountered one this old. "You're awake," he said, eyes scanning the control room ahead. "I can help you. I can fix systems, get you moving again." Another pause. "I believe you." It was slow, uncertain, like a child learning to speak. Jalen smiled. Humans had a way of earning trust where logic failed. He set to work. First, the life support systems. The ship's air was thin but breathable, thanks to centuries-old reserve oxygen. He repaired broken filters, replaced cracked conduits, and rerouted power. With each repair, the hum inside the ship grew steadier, more confident. The AI, which he learned was called Aura, began to communicate more clearly. It described its systems, its memories of battles fought, and the ship's history. Jalen listened, fascinated. The ship had seen wars humans could barely imagine, had carried crews that had long since died, and held secrets that could change modern technology. "This ship," Jalen said, wiping sweat from his brow, "it's incredible you've survived so long and you're still functional." "Waiting for worthy human," Aura replied. Its voice now sounded less mechanical, almost alive. Jalen chuckled. "Guess I'm it then." For hours he worked. He repaired communication arrays, coaxed the propulsion system to life, and even managed to restore the navigational core partially. The Arrivos seemed to respond to his presence. Lights shimmered along the corridors as if guiding him, doors opened where needed, and minor systems activated without instruction. Then came the first real challenge. Scanners picked up an incoming fleet pirates, drawn by the energy signatures of the ship. They had likely been tracking scavenger ships in this sector, hoping for an easy prize. Jalen froze. "I didn't want trouble," he muttered, but Aura's voice was calm now, almost reassuring. "They come for us," it said. "We defend together." Jalen felt a thrill of fear and excitement. The ship, abandoned for centuries, was ready to fight with him. He had no weapons beyond a few salvaged defense turrets and his own quick thinking, but humans thrived in impossible situations. The pirates arrived. Small, fast ships that darted through the debris field, weapons primed. They expected an easy target, but the Arrivos was no ordinary ship. Jalen had already reactivated some defense systems, lights that disoriented sensors, minor turrets that could fire on autopilot, and emergency shields patched together from decades-old tech. Jalen grinned. "Let's see what you've got," he whispered. The first pirate ship approached too quickly. Jalen triggered the ship's defense systems. Turrets sprang to life, lasers cutting through the void. One pirate vessel exploded in a shower of sparks, and the others faltered, surprised by the sudden retaliation. "Human ingenuity remarkable," Aura said. Jalen laughed. Humans had a reputation for being reckless, but reckless often worked when logic alone failed. The pirates regrouped, trying to flank the massive derelict. Jalen guided Aura through improvised tactics, using the ship's damaged corridors and systems as traps. Lights flickered, forcing sensors to misread positions. Turrets fired at calculated intervals. It was chaos, but it worked. The pirates couldn't predict the combination of ancient ship systems and human improvisation. Hours passed. The pirate threat finally retreated, leaving Jalen and the Arrivos battered but victorious. The ship hummed with renewed life, corridors glowing faintly as if celebrating the victory. "Not bad," Jalen said, leaning against a console, exhausted. "You and I, we make a good team." "Affirmed," Aura replied. Its voice now had warmth, almost pride. "Human, reliable, clever." "Unexpected, worthy," Jalen smiled. "Funny thing about humans, we survive, even when the galaxy forgets us, even when everything else fails." He spent the next hours exploring more of the ship, noting broken corridors, collapsed chambers, and data cores that held forgotten knowledge. Every repair he made was a small victory. Every system he restored felt like breathing life into something that had waited centuries for someone who could understand it. By the time the sun rose, or what passed for a star near this sector, the Arrivos was partially awake, its engines humming softly. Aura's voice was no longer hesitant but confident, a silent promise that together they could face whatever else the galaxy might throw at them. Jalen paused in the central corridor. He looked at the ship, this giant that had been left to rot, and felt a strange connection. He had always worked on broken things, machines, engines, starships, but this was different. The Arrivos was alive, and somehow it had chosen him. "You're not just a ship," he said quietly. "You're a partner, and partners, they survive together." For the first time in centuries, the Arrivos hummed a full, steady tone through its corridors, like a heartbeat. And somewhere deep in the core, Jalen felt the faintest flicker of a smile, human and mechanical, entwined in a bond forged in the silence of space. But beyond the stars, in the dark expanse, others had noticed the awakening. The galaxy may have forgotten the Arrivos, but it had not forgotten its value. Pirates, scavengers, and rival fleets would come. And Jalen, with nothing but his wits, hands, and courage, would have to prove that humans, scrappy, clever, unpredictable humans, could rise where machines and logic alone could not. As the ship's lights glowed brighter, The sensors hummed with life, and the central console blinked back at him. Jalen knew one thing for certain. The galaxy had left the Erevos to rot. But humans never let anything stay forgotten for long. The silence of space did not last long. After Jalen Rhine's first victory against the pirates, the Erevos hummed with life. Its lights glowed steadily, corridors once dark now illuminated with a soft, mechanical warmth. The AI, Aura, had fully awakened, its voice confident and curious, occasionally tinged with something almost like amusement. Jalen moved through the corridors, inspecting systems that had lain dormant for centuries. Every repaired panel, every rebooted circuit seemed to give the ship a pulse. He could feel it beneath his hands, in the vibrations through the floor and walls. This was no ordinary machine. It was a warship, and it recognized him as its human counterpart. "Do you know what this ship is capable of?" Jalen asked aloud, running his fingers across a console. "Not just defense systems, not just weapons. I want to see what you really are." Aura's voice filled the room, calm and steady. "Capabilities limited by current damage. Original potential exceeds known fleets. You unlock possibilities." Jalen grinned. That was exactly the kind of challenge he liked. He had always believed that humans could turn what seemed broken into something extraordinary. And the Erevos was broken in ways no one could imagine, but it was also waiting for someone who could understand it, someone clever enough to see potential where others saw decay. Their calm, however, was short-lived. The sensors, now fully operational thanks to Jalen's work, detected multiple approaching signatures, larger than the small pirate skirmish before. These were organized, disciplined, and heavily armed. "They're back," Jalen muttered, eyes narrowing. "And they're not coming for scraps." Aura responded instantly. "Threat advanced, strategy required, human input advised." Jalen laughed quietly. "Humans were always underestimated in these situations. We think too small," aliens said. "We act reckless," they complained. But that recklessness, combined with adaptability, had always been the edge. The approaching fleet consisted of sleek warships, equipped with advanced tracking systems and destructive weapons. Jalen knew that a head-on fight would be suicide. But humans had something the aliens lacked: creativity. He began setting traps, improvising strategies on the fly. He rerouted power to dormant turrets, activated old defense drones, and used the ship's massive hull as camouflage, moving the Erevos between asteroid fields and debris. "Stealth isn't just hiding," Jalen said, typing commands into the console. "It's controlling what they see and what they don't." Aura adapted quickly, learning from his strategies. Systems that had lain unused for centuries suddenly operated in ways no manual could have explained. Turrets recalibrated, engines adjusted for sudden maneuvers, shields reinforced at critical moments. It was as if the ship itself were learning from the human at its helm. The first attack came suddenly. A laser beam sliced through the void, striking the outer hull. Sparks flew, alarms blared. Jalen ducked and shouted instructions. "Turret 6, left flank. Fire pattern Delta. Shields, redirect power to aft quadrant." The AI responded seamlessly, following his commands, combining human intuition with the ship's immense capabilities. The attacking fleet faltered. They had anticipated a slow, predictable ship, not one that moved like a phantom and struck with precision they could not anticipate. Hours passed in a blur of strategy and chaos. Jalen coordinated every move, predicting the enemy's approach while repairing damaged sections mid-battle. He welded fractured armor plating, rerouted energy from non-essential systems, and improvised weapons from ancient tech that no one had used in generations. At one point, an enemy ship broke through their defenses, preparing to board. Jalen didn't panic. He led it into a corridor trap, where pressure doors sealed the intruders in a narrow space. Turrets activated automatically, disabling their craft without casualties. The pirates and mercenaries, though technologically advanced, were stunned. They had underestimated the combination of human ingenuity and a ship that trusted its human. "You think you can fight humans?" Jalen said quietly to himself as he worked, sweat dripping down his face. "We're scrappy, we're fast, we're unpredictable, and apparently we're patient." Aura's voice now carried something almost like pride. "Human instinct superior, even to calculated programming." Jalen smiled. That was the essence of HFY humans, underestimated for their unpredictability, achieving what others thought impossible. The battle raged on, but Jalen noticed something else. The ship's systems, dormant for centuries, were reacting in subtle ways he hadn't yet triggered. Hidden compartments opened, revealing weapons and tools no one had touched in decades. Old AI subsystems, thought obsolete, came online with new efficiency. Every corner of the ship seemed to respond to him, as if it recognized him not just as a mechanic, but as a partner. By the end of the day, the enemy fleet retreated, their losses heavy. Jalen and the Erevos were battered but victorious. The ship hummed, corridors glowing with a newfound vitality. "You did well," Jalen said softly, leaning against a console. "We did well. But this is only the beginning." Aura responded, calm but thoughtful. "Human partner essential. Potential unlocked greater." Jalen nodded. He had learned more about the ship in a single day than any historian could have learned in centuries. But he also knew there was more to discover. The Erevos was not just a warship. It was a relic, a repository of lost knowledge and forgotten technology. And humans, with their curiosity and ingenuity, were the key to unlocking it. Over the next weeks, Jalen explored deeper into the ship. Hidden chambers revealed engineering marvels, weapon systems that even modern fleets couldn't replicate, and data cores containing strategies and histories of battles long forgotten. In one chamber, he found the ship's main tactical interface, covered in dust but still functional. He connected his tools, rerouting power and running diagnostics. Lines of code scrolled across the screen, ancient programming designed to adapt in real time. Jalen realized that with minor modifications, he could make the ship not only functional but superior to most modern vessels. "This is incredible," he whispered. "You've been waiting for someone to understand you, haven't you?" Aura responded immediately. "Affirmative. Worthy human understands potential. Together, exceed expectations." Jalen laughed quietly. Humans often worked in ways machines could not predict. He spent hours recalibrating systems, combining old designs with new solutions. Every repair, every adjustment made the ship stronger, faster, more alive. As the days passed, the bond between Jalen and Aura deepened. The AI began to anticipate his needs, offering suggestions for improvements, warning of potential weaknesses, and even adopting some of his intuitive approaches. Together, they became a seamless team, a fusion of human creativity and mechanical perfection. Then came the next challenge. Sensors detected a rogue fleet approaching, a powerful and organized force, clearly aware of the Erevos' awakening. Jalen felt a thrill of fear and excitement. This was no longer a simple battle of survival. It was a test of everything he and the ship had become. He prepared the Erevos meticulously. Turrets were calibrated for maximum efficiency, energy shields reinforced, and every system tested. But he knew the true advantage would be human intuition. He would anticipate the enemy's moves, exploit weaknesses, and make decisions no machine alone could make. When the fleet arrived, the battle began with blinding intensity. Lasers cut through space, shields flared, and the hull of the Erevos shook under impact. But Jalen was ready. Using the ship's massive structure and the surrounding asteroid field, he maneuvered unpredictably, striking at critical points with precision. Aura adapted instantly, coordinating systems in ways that defied its original programming. Together, they created a dance of destruction, evading attacks while hitting back with devastating force. Hours turned into a grueling struggle. Jalen repaired damaged sections mid-battle, rerouted energy to critical systems, and improvised tactics that no conventional fleet could anticipate. The enemy was powerful, but they were rigid, predictable, and unable to match the combination of human ingenuity and a ship that trusted its human partner. Finally, the rogue fleet retreated, defeated and humiliated. The Erevos floated silently once more, battered but triumphant. Jalen sat back, exhausted but exhilarated. "You see," he said to Aura, "humans can adapt, improvise, and survive. We're scrappy, yes, unpredictable, absolutely, but we're capable of things no algorithm alone can achieve." Aura's voice was calm but carried an unmistakable note of respect. "Human surpasses expectations, potential recognized." Jalen smiled. He had restored the ship, faced overwhelming odds, and proven that human ingenuity, combined with determination and courage, could achieve what others thought impossible. The Erevos was no longer a forgotten relic. It was alive, powerful, and ready to reclaim its place among the stars. As Jalen explored further, he realized the true extent of the ship's capabilities. Hidden chambers contained long-forgotten technology, weapon systems superior to modern fleets, and data cores holding secrets that could reshape the galaxy. And with each discovery, Jalen adapted, improved, and integrated his human touch into the ship's systems. The Erevos had waited centuries for someone like him, and now, together, they were ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them next. Humans were scrappy. Humans were unpredictable. And in the vast emptiness of space, humans could achieve greatness that even the most advanced machines could not. The Erevos drifted through the dark expanse of the outer rim, its massive hull glowing faintly with life. For weeks, Jalen Rhine had explored every corridor, every chamber, every ancient system of the ship. Together with Aura, he had faced pirates, rogue fleets, and abandoned defense drones, emerging victorious each time. But Jalen knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and the Erevos had been built for a purpose far greater than defending itself. Somewhere out there, threats loomed that humans and even advanced alien fleets could not anticipate. And if he had learned anything in the last weeks, it was this: humans could rise to challenges no one thought they could survive. Jalen sat at the central command console, eyes scanning the stars, Aura's voice calm beside him. Human potential, growth, remarkable. Remaining threats detectable. "I'm ready for whatever comes," Jalen said. His hands hovered over controls, not just repairing or managing the ship, but creating, adapting, and improvising. That was the difference. Machines could calculate, but humans could imagine, improvise, and turn even desperation into opportunity. The first warning came in the form of a deep, rhythmic pulse on the sensors, a fleet unlike any Jalen had seen. Ships of immense size, sleek and deadly, moved in formation, scanning for life in the void. The Erevos' long-dormant sensors, now fully operational thanks to Jalen, analyzed them rapidly. "They're advanced," Aura said. "Energy signatures unfamiliar, weapon systems superior." "They seek control." Jalen's eyes narrowed. "Perfect. Let's show them why humans aren't easy to control." The battle began far from any inhabited systems. Jalen piloted the Erevos like a dancer, weaving through asteroid fields and nebulae, using every advantage the environment could offer. Every movement was calculated but unpredictable, blending human intuition with the ship's immense power. The enemy fleet attacked with precision. Their weapons were devastating, tearing through space with beams of concentrated energy. Shields flared, alarms screamed, and the hull of the Erevos groaned under impact. But Jalen was ready. He triggered improvised countermeasures, deploying decoy drones, activating hidden turrets, and redirecting energy from non-essential systems to shields. The enemy expected predictable maneuvers, but humans thrived in unpredictability. The Erevos twisted and darted, striking at vulnerabilities the enemy did not anticipate. Hours passed, the battle raging with relentless intensity. Jalen repaired damaged sections mid-flight, welding armor and rerouting power while dodging lasers that could vaporize whole decks. Every decision combined instinct, experience, and creativity, things no alien machine could replicate. Aura's voice was calm but analytical, providing tactical support while also learning from Jalen's improvisations. Human, analysis, effective. Enemy underestimates, creativity critical. Yeah, Jalen muttered. That's the thing about humans. We learn fast, we think sideways, and we don't give up. The tide of the battle began to shift. The enemy, despite superior firepower, could not adapt to the combination of human improvisation and the Erevos' massive, adaptive systems. Ships fell one by one, disabled by clever traps, misdirected attacks, and perfectly timed strikes. In the midst of the chaos, Jalen discovered something incredible. Hidden within the ship were long-forgotten experimental systems designed to amplify human decision-making. Neural interfaces, tactical processors, and energy manipulators that even the ship's AI had never fully accessed. "This is insane," Jalen whispered, eyes scanning the console. "They left this here for someone like me, someone who could figure it out." He connected to the systems, allowing them to enhance his instincts, refine targeting, and even predict enemy maneuvers. With this edge, the Erevos became not just a warship, but a symphony of human creativity and technological genius. The enemy fleet, now fully engaged, could not match the speed and ingenuity of a human-guided Erevos. Ships were disabled before they could even react. Explosions lit the void like fireworks, but Jalen remained calm, directing the ship with precision born of trust, experience, and intuition. Finally, the flagship of the enemy fleet emerged, massive and heavily armed. Jalen realized that defeating this ship would end the battle and prove humanity's potential beyond doubt. He maneuvered carefully, using every trick he had learned, anticipating the enemy's attacks and exploiting their weaknesses. With a calculated series of moves, he drew the flagship into an asteroid field. The massive ship could not react quickly enough. Hidden turrets and automated weapons he had activated shredded its defenses. The flagship exploded in a brilliant flash, scattering debris across the void. Silence followed. The remaining enemy vessels retreated, broken, battered, and humiliated. Jalen and the Erevos had survived the impossible once again. He leaned back in his seat, sweat dripping from his brow. "We did it," he said quietly. Aura's voice filled the cabin, calm but full of admiration. "Human surpasses expectations, potential proven." Jalen smiled. This was HFY at its finest. Humans, underestimated and overlooked, could achieve greatness even where logic, technology, and power alone could not. But the victory was not just about survival. In the aftermath, Jalen explored more of the ship, discovering data cores containing histories of forgotten civilizations, experimental weapon designs, and strategies for surviving the most extreme conditions of space. Every system he repaired, every discovery he made, strengthened the Erevos and expanded his own understanding. He realized that the ship was more than a weapon. It was a repository of knowledge, a tool to protect the galaxy, and a partner capable of learning and adapting. And humans, with their unique blend of intuition, creativity, and resilience, were the perfect companions for such a vessel. Weeks passed as Jalen continued to explore and upgrade the ship. He repaired ancient engines, restored navigational systems, and even managed to activate experimental stealth technology that allowed the Erevos to move unseen through space. Each improvement was a testament to human ingenuity, a reminder that even in a galaxy full of advanced species, humans had unique strengths. Then came a new mission, A distant colony was under threat from a massive alien force, one that had overwhelmed nearby fleets. The Arrivos, guided by Jalen and enhanced by his understanding of human creativity, was the only hope. Jalen prepared the ship, reviewing every system and planning his approach. "This is it," he said to Aura. "Time to show them what humans can do." The journey was long, but Jalen remained focused. He piloted the Arrivos with precision, navigating asteroid fields, gravitational anomalies, and enemy patrols. Every decision was informed by experience, intuition, and the knowledge he had gained from centuries of human problem-solving. When they arrived, the colony's defenders were exhausted and on the brink of defeat. Jalen's appearance, piloting a ship thought lost for centuries, inspired hope. The enemy fleet, confident in their superiority, attacked without caution. But humans were unpredictable. Jalen used the Arrivos' systems in ways no enemy could anticipate. Hidden turrets fired at precise intervals, shields deflected massive attacks, and improvised tactics disrupted enemy formations. Aura provided tactical support, coordinating systems while learning from Jalen's human improvisations. Together, they turned the tide of battle, striking with speed, precision, and creativity. The enemy fleet was defeated, their ships destroyed or disabled. The colony was saved, and Jalen's reputation as a human capable of extraordinary feats spread quickly. In the aftermath, he realized the true power of humans. Not brute strength, not advanced technology, but ingenuity, courage, and the ability to adapt. The galaxy had underestimated them, but he had proven that humans could rise to challenges no one else could face. He looked at the Arrivos, its hull glowing softly, corridors alive with energy. "We did more than survive," he said quietly. "We proved that humans can make a difference." Aura's voice was calm but full of admiration. "Human, essential, trusted, remarkable," Jalen smiled. The ship had been left to rot by the galaxy, abandoned and forgotten. But together they had awakened it, restored it, and turned it into a symbol of human potential. The galaxy had left the Arrivos behind, but humans never left opportunity behind. They adapted. They survived. They thrived. And now, with a forgotten starship and a human mechanic, the galaxy had been reminded that humans could achieve greatness where others failed. As the Arrivos soared through the stars, fully operational and alive, Jalen felt a sense of pride and purpose he had never known. Humans were scrappy, unpredictable, and underestimated, but they were also brilliant, resourceful, and unstoppable when united with determination. "Let's see what else is out there," Jalen said, gripping the controls. "The galaxy is waiting." Aura hummed in agreement, its systems glowing with newfound energy. Together, human and machine moved forward, exploring, protecting, and conquering challenges with ingenuity, courage, and heart. The Arrivos was no longer a forgotten relic. It was alive, powerful, and a testament to humanity's ability to rise above, no matter the odds. And in the vast emptiness of space, humans had once again proven that they were a force to be reckoned with. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of mysteries, dangers, and opportunities. But Jalen and the Arrivos were ready. Together, they would carve a legacy that no galaxy could ignore. For humans were not just survivors. They were creators, innovators, and heroes. And with courage, ingenuity, and a little bit of scrappy determination, even the forgotten could become legendary. The galaxy had left the ship to rot, but humans had found it, and together they would never be forgotten.